Great to have you all with us as always. Hello, a very good evening and welcome to 4-0 Sunday Live. It's just gone 7 p.m, which means it's time for another live hour of Pompey Chat here on 4-0 Written All Over It. This weekend, we're all chatting about a 4-0 Written All Over It. Over the next hour, Retro Shirt Sean, Barney, Pepe, Mr. Fish Tank and myself will be looking back at yesterday's 4-0 win. I'll put your reflections to the boys in the live chat as well. So now is the time to let us know what you thought of yesterday. We'll also look back to, we'll look ahead to back-to-back Fratton Park outings for Pompey this week towards the end of the show when we leave you at 8 p.m. Another packed out hour retro. Lovely to have you back with us and lovely to have so much reserved and perhaps cautious positivity about Pompey.
Definitely. Pause. Yeah, it's starting well, isn't it? It's time to get a little bit excited, but yeah, cautious optimism. I think it's just nice that the squad is developing well. They're coming together, and we've got more than a first 11, which is nice.
Safe to say, Pepe, that's quite a statement win from Pompey to go out and score 4 on the opening away day in League One this season.
Absolutely. I think my superstition, I wasn't there yesterday, so I'm not going to go to any more away games because I guarantee when I go to Stevenage, which is the next away game, we'll lose. So, either way, solid 4-0, lovely stuff. And good to see Cassini Yengi continue on the score sheet is a big talking point as always. So, good to get the first win under the belt. And, of course, 4-0 always adds to the occasion.
Absolutely does, and it's always a lovely weekend when we have that. And we will, I'm sure, be closing the show with a certain Cassini Yengi clip, as we so often do around these parts at the moment. Barney, we enjoyed such an excellent atmosphere together yesterday. One of the best I think we've had for a little while, twinned with a performance that was equally as good and one that we haven't seen for a little while.
Milk Fish Tank's here.
The normal service has resumed here on 4-0 Sunday Live. Barn.
God, I've almost forgotten what your question was.
Atmosphere,
yeah, absolutely class day. I mean, even in spite of the 4-0, I think that's that first away game of the season vibe, isn't it? That you just go into it with that blind confidence. I think, like the 4-0 squad, there's a huge amount of depth, as the others have just said. There's so much quality in the squad that we can rotate the players as we have. There's a lot of, I think, frowns when the starting lineup came out, like, oh, how is Swanson not playing? Oh, he's not even in the squad, and then we go and do that. Yeah, but then we go and do that. So Messinio obviously knows his players. Hopefully they can just continue to do that through the rest of the season.
Aaron, loads to be happy about from yesterday, mate. Not least the first clean sheet of the season too, which shouldn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, I think that was fantastic, actually. The atmosphere as well, what I heard and what I saw on the highlights and everything, it was just epic, absolute epic. And it's nice to actually have the feel-good factor back at Fratton as well. We have got a good squad, like Barney said about the eyes frowns and everything when it was actually released. But it just shows you the strength and depth we have got in that. And with the substitute...
Sorry.
With the strength and depth, even with the subs on as well, it's just it is nice. It is nice, and this team is something special. I'm not going to say where we're going to finish or anything, but take it as it comes. And everything from little acorns, mighty trees will grow. But yeah, I'm looking forward for this season.
The cliches are out already, and we heard your dogs, Aaron. Would you just mind reminding us of your beverage of choice for this evening, if that's okay?
Well, I work for a cable company, and every time I go to a job, normally I get bottles of wine. So I've got a lovely bottle of wine tonight that I'm drinking, and I found out it's 15 quid from Waitrose, Italian organic, and it is. I've done about just over half a bottle already, so it's all right. Yeah, all good.
Other places to buy your red wine are available this Sunday evening. And if the analysis from Aaron deteriorates over the live hour, then everybody knows exactly why. PFC Matt said, good evening. David said, good evening to all. Johnny said, evening, boys. Easy to say. We won't be carried away. But how easy is that in reality? Thought John's interview afterwards was class, saying how we have every right to get excited. There was a little bit of a kind of, yes, get excited, but also keeping our feet on the ground, I thought was great. Hello to Dirk, player Pompey from Malta. Alex is in love with Yengi, as we all are. Hello to Ryan, who's a Barnsley fan. Gav said, always lovely when you hear small pockets of supporters that you post singing a song when you posted on a fan page. Good evening to One Rovers Vlogs, who said, fair play for that 4-0 win. That Yengi's looking class. Alex said, very much look forward to watching the Sky Live game on Tuesday night. Colby and Yengi both scoring is fantastic. Jake from Sentinel 72 is in. T-Lop is being recorded later on. Michelle said, good evening, chaps. Follow Pompey for over 50 years. I always worry when we have a result, then we'll have 2 winnable home games coming up. Let's hope we can win at home, and we'll get into that later on. Pepe's biggest fan, Jack Ward, is in the building. Sam says, good evening. Did we see Chelsea-Liverpool today? Yes, we did. 1-1 draws at home, not unlike another team that plays in blue and white in the south of England. And g'day from Trophy. Welcome to you all. Thank you for joining us. And there's a point from Steve who said, who was that woman in the orange top? That's an if you know, you know one written all over it this weekend. Thank you for the moment to everyone in the chat. We're live across the world here on Fournilwrittenalloverit. Thank you for our panel for joining us too. Welcome to all of you in the comments. Before we take a deep dive into yesterday, let's remind ourselves of Pompey's formidable capital win. Good morning, Andrew.
Yeah, good morning, Tom. What a lovely day for an away game in London.
Oh, that was a nice moment. I love Andrew.
To have a camera, it's so much love. To have a camera.
Quite organised, quite well structured, and going forward we look really threatening on the width, and I think White's had a fantastic game and Regan Paul's been man of the match so far, just a cut above the rest.
If that's the standard, I think we're in for a good year, put it that way. So Pompey off the mark in terms of wins this season in League One, and what a way to do it. More of those, please. Awesome day out in the capital. Really enjoyed that, and looking back on it makes it even better. I've just put a poll in the live chat down below, our first of the season for man of the match polls. Don't ask why we didn't do one last week, and that's probably because we just completely forgot that we do them. So I think one of the most difficult things to do, actually, one of the most difficult things we've done here on 4-0 Sunday Live in terms of a poll is you could probably pick from all 11 and then the boys who came off the bench too. But let us know who your man of the match was yesterday. If it's not on the list, of course, drop it in the live chat below. Always great to have plenty of discussion going on in there, and we'll get to as many of you as possible tonight because it is a packed out show. Loads of you in here already. Your options are Marlon Pack, Regan Paul, Cassini, Yengi and Colby Bishop. I went for the 3 goal scorers plus a standout who didn't score. Obviously, there's loads more that you could have gone for, so let us know. Right then, let's get into yesterday in detail. Really dominant display, Barney, encouraging signs. Of course, far too early to make judgments, but really nice to see on the opening day.
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head there with the all 11. The only player, like I said to you at half time, I thought was the only player that I'd say had a bad first half. And I wouldn't even go as far as bad, just not as good as everyone else was Kamara. And he paid the price for standing out. There was 10 excellent players and 1 okay player. And sadly, he just wasn't up to scratch with everyone else. So he went off at half time. But I think kind of balls to Massinho for making that change, because how many times in the past have players had terrible first halves, and then the manager go, "Oh, give them second 15 minutes, see if we can lose in a good way, and not make those subs." So yeah.
Oh, that's that. Lovely. Thank you. Pepe, I'll build on what Barney just said there. As one of our commander-in-chiefs once wisely said, what a good way to win that was.
Yes, exactly. I mean, adding on what Barney's saying, it's good that there's a manager. I think Plymouth did it last year. They had a terrible first half, made switches at like after the first half an hour. And the fact he's got, I don't know if you could say it, he's got, I'm not going to say it because it might be a bit rude, but he's got the balls to do it. Shows some strength. And there was a lot of people going into yesterday, or going into the season, still debating Messino. You look at Bristol Rovers, everyone was like, oh, 1-0 draw against Bristol Rovers. You look at Barnsley, they won 7-0 last week, drew 1-0 with Bristol Rovers. Winning 4-0 against a team I thought would put up a bit more of a fight yesterday in Leyton Orient, and we turned them over 4-0, and apparently we didn't play that well first half. So that shows how good the team is. And then you look at the squad as a whole as well. Look at Swanson, your Larry's, I know he's injured, your Lane's out injured, and Stevenson not in the squad as well. The strength and depth compared to last year, I know we had a good start last year, but I have a feeling, you look at the passion as well after the game, it's just some feeling that there is, Hayward said it in the chat, a lot of togetherness in this team, and there's something different, something brewing, I reckon, Tom, and I'm excited for Exeter on Tuesday. I can't lie. Get me down to Fratton Park, please.
Yes, absolutely, mate. I was going to say, yeah, great to see togetherness with the group. Retro's back, Barney's here, Aaron's here, Pepe, all, great squad here. I know he's referring to the football. I just thought we'd try and get that one in there. Phil said, good evening from sunny Malta. Gaz is in the posh part in Gozo. What a fantastic match yesterday. I'm sure Gaz is watching Phil and he will be story checks out on that one. Dan said, Yengi's class, but like Bishop at the start of the season, just can't stop scoring. No one did storm the pitch, says Dill. However, it is Yengi season. An interesting one here, Retro. Johnny saying, how much better did Pack and Morel look without Lowry in the middle? We mentioned this pre-match, didn't we? Pre-show.
Yeah, Morel, for me, he had one of his standout games since he's had a blue shirt on. He or white shirt, should I say? But he did play well, and I think he thrives over having someone like Sadie in the middle of the park who just drops a bit. He's a big lad, puts himself around, allows Morel then to just dink in and around that centre circle and just play the ball, play the bits and pieces, link up play, which is what he's good at. I do always find that when he hasn't got a big lad next to him, he gets muscled out too easily. But it seems to be a nice balance. And Pack just sitting back, letting Morel do his thing. It was really nice. And like you said before the show, when Robertson came on, Morel gave him that extra bit of just sort of experience, sort of just to help him. And I think they played well together towards the end. I thought they were really solid.
Aaron, Regan Paul, I put in the man of the match poll, and a little bit of a spoiler for those who might be saving the man of the match poll when we reveal it. He's currently leading the way on almost a 60% majority. How good did you think he did yesterday?
Yeah, I think the whole team were outstanding. I can't actually say a man of the match because every single player stood out to me anyway. Like last season, this one player says he will be back, and the Packinator yesterday scored a goal. So I'm very impressed with Pack. I'm impressed with all of them, really. Especially like from last weekend, the chemistry wasn't there in the midfield. This weekend, it's there. It's there. You can see it. So whatever he's doing in the training field is working. He's just got to get them other players when he brings them on and subs to get that chemistry all working together. And yeah, we're going to be phenomenal. But like I said before, little acorns.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to mention Marlon Pat to you, Barney. It was something that we spoke about at halftime. A real captain's performance from him, not least the goal, but his overall game too. A couple of stats. He won the joint most duels of anyone on the pitch. Level with, surprisingly, Regan Paul, who, as we mentioned there, was exceptional too. Pack won the most tackles. His passion at the end, Pepe mentioned it. Awesome showing from the man with the armband, who did everything that you'd expect of a Pompey captain yesterday.
Yeah, kind of following on from what Retro said though as well. I thought he and Morel had a captain's level performance. Something I picked out from the first half. I think it was right towards the end of the first half. Norris had two passes in a row that went a little bit astray, and Morel snapped at him. and then Norris snapped back. But I like that. It's passion. They're showing their caring. But if you've got two players playing as well as that, leading the team in the middle of the field, where I think a captain should play, that's unreal. That's hopefully going to drive you forward, encourage the players to do the right thing. At least if they get the game plan, as it appears both Pack and Morel got yesterday, then they can keep everyone in shape and do what Mousinho wants us to do.
Absolutely. Dan said it. Oh, someone go on.
Sorry, just quickly. With that chemistry they've both got, each of them are actually playing as a captain. So, like, when one person sees something that's happening, they're then telling the team. But the communication there is unbelievable. So you haven't, like normal teams, you just got that one captain that's actually running the show. With them two both doing it at the same time and then saying, look, we should do it like this and that, the levels are going to be, and the confidence from this team is just going to be far superior than anything I've seen for a long, long time.
I'd probably even, it's probably like a leadership group, isn't it? Throw Regan Paul in there, he was very commanding at home and was giving orders. And I even saw Robertson getting involved a little bit and kind of a bit of back chat with Morel in the middle. I was like, sorry, not Morel, and Pack. I was like, yeah, that's what we like to see. Dan said it seems like all the players are one big group instead of a few little groups, all with passion for the fans. David said the way Marlon got behind the boys and fans getting as loud and roaring just shows how much he loves the club and really shows our chances of getting promoted. Hello to Don all the way from Thailand on Facebook, who says, great result and another great vid. Thanks, Don. I'll be up at 2 a.m. on Wednesday morning for the Exeter gameplay at Pompey is what we love to see. Thanks for getting in touch with us. Matt said, great win. Now let's get 2 good home wins in a row. Aaron reckons promotion is a must this season. Dan said, so pleased that Pack had a better performance yesterday. I was concerned following his showing at the Gas. And Josh said Shaughnessy definitely gives us something with his ability with the ball. Harsh on Towler to not be in the squad, and we're going to talk about elisions from the squad now, actually, Pepe, because Swanson wasn't in the squad either, as we saw Towler getting off the coach. Well, he was somewhat a bench in the coach, getting off the coach. That argument, I said it in the video, the little bit that we included from Forest Green, that Swanson-Rafferty argument, I make no bones about where I stand on that one. I appreciate the 2 assists and excellent deliveries from Rafferty yesterday, but perhaps disappointing that it leaves Swanson out the squad entirely, not even on the bench entirely, given what was pretty much a man-of-the-match performance on Tuesday night.
Yeah, exactly. You sort of hit the nail on the head there. I listened to Mousinho's post-match interview on the YouTube channel, and then I watched your video as well. And Mousinho said, and I listened to Rafferty's post-match as well. And Max asked both Mousinho and Rafferty about the strength and depth. And Mousinho was very clear that the squad, he's going to need the squad, regardless of how good they play. Like he mentioned Shaughnessy as an example, was out the squad last week, trained well last week, played very good against Forest Green, and then was rewarded with a start yesterday. That could very well happen to Swanson. It's just, unfortunately, Rafferty, again, played all right with a couple of assists, got an assist last week as well. And we said that the whole summer, right back is it's the place with one of the most fiercest competitions in the team. It's the strongest place in it. It was the place that didn't need additions. Rafferty, Swanson, it was a battle last year. It's going to be an even bigger battle this year with Swanson now a year since he joined Pompey, really. And it's exciting. And that's where Pompey were missing last year, wasn't it? That depth. You had now Towler, Lane, Lowry, like I just mentioned earlier, that aren't even in the team. And that when an injury does occur, one of them can come into the team and gel beautifully with the squad. So yeah, it's optimistic, and shout out to the recruitment team for that was probably one of the biggest areas of improvement needed over the summer, was the strength and depth, and they've done that beautifully. And I think Mousinho and Rafferty covered it very well post-match yesterday, saying they will be needed and required this year. So even if, like Swanson, you aren't in the team, you will be at some point this season, which is very good to hear, and obviously that keeps the morale up in the camp.
I really like the quote from Mousinho as well. He said, you might feel like you're a million miles away when you're not even in the squad, but actually you're so much closer than you think. I just think that kind of instills a bit of confidence. But I want to ask Retro comment about that in a minute. Before we do so, Ryan said, judging on Moose's team shuffling so far, I think Robertson will start in the 10 on Tuesday in front of Pack and Morel. Some real depth in this team. Dan said the only problem with getting this many players, some are going to miss out, but great depth, great squad depth for injuries, as Pepe was just saying there. Retro, what I wanted to ask you, my one query with the strength and and depth in the squad, which we're so blessed with. We're so happy about it. How do you think Mourinho goes about keeping everyone happy? They'll always come out and say, fierce competition, we're happy to have it. But obviously it's a high intensity environment, and battles for places is what you want, because ultimately that improves the quality of the players. But people are going to miss out, and there are going to be some unhappy people in the camp. How does he deal with that?
I think, by like Shockley, basically giving them a chance when they deserve it. And people say, well, Swanson deserved it, but like you said, Rafferty hadn't put a foot wrong, and we've blessed with centre-backs. Even Raggett only came on at the end. And you sort of look at it and go, well, it's good because they're all vying, which means they'll all be at the top of the game when they do play. And Mourinho's got to basically make sure that during the cup games and all of these other Papa John's trophies, all the fun stuff, is that he actually rotates it through and gives everyone a chance to show themselves. And I think, the squad's young, they're all hungry. And, as long as he's fair, I think there will be no issues. We don't have people like the Curtis, who would throw his toys out the pram. They're all young and they're all pretty hungry. So I think he's got a nice group of players who are all like bonding together quite well, will support each other. I'm sure that's Swanson and Rafferty. I'm sure they're both pushing each other hard because they know, they'll be at the top of their game when they do get a chance. So I think it bodes well. And I think he's managing them well. I think he's also recruited the right sort of player for that sort of squad mentality.
Thanks,
Sorry,
Retro.
I think just to add on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, we go back to Abu Kamara there. If you have a bad game like Kamara, I don't know if Kamara had a bad game yesterday, but if he got subbed off at half time, then he might not play next week. So it keeps everyone on their toes to keep playing better. So if you fall like Kamara yesterday, fell victim, he might not play next week, which keeps everyone sort of on their toes and trying to play for their best, which ultimately will lead to a better group and, fingers crossed, something a bit better.
Barney, how awesome is... Oh, go on.
I was also going to add, basically, but the person who came on for Kamara was Sparks, wasn't he? He came on and played further forward. And he's meant to be a left-back, but he was playing off left wing. He was playing really well. And, you may find that the likes of Swanson, Rafferty may get other opportunities in other areas of the pitch. Things will open up for them as time goes on.
I believe it might have been Anthony Scully for Abu Kamara, but
Yeah.
Sparks did come on and did play pretty much left wing, and he changed the game against Bristol Rovers as well, Sparks, last week too. So he's definitely. What I was going to say to you, Barney, was how awesome is Alex Robertson? 2 Bosch-worthy performances off the bench from him this week. I mean, only half-hour cameos, but you can clearly see that the quality from that lad is ridiculous. And there's people in the live chat, live on 4-0 Sunday Live tonight. Maybe it's a little bit too early for him to come in to the starting 11. Is he, he's only had an hour of football for Pompey, only been here for less than a week, but that boy looks ready, hungry, raring to go, and finds those little pockets of space, operates so well when he's in a condensed, pressurised environment. Couple of Cruyff turns and the Pompey fans are going, love it. That's what we like to see. Getting the crowd off their feet is what we want.
Whatever they're teaching, irrelevant of all the money that the City Football Group supposedly splash about, the way that or the way that he moves is so Phil Foden-esque. It looks fluid. Like when he turns, I can't describe it. I can't put words onto it. But, you see some players, I don't mean to be mean about the guy, but Sean Raggett, right? Milk turns quicker. Yeah. I actually rate Sean Raggett, but watching him turn sometimes is hilarious, especially with the ball by his feet. Whereas watching Robertson turn yesterday was fantastic. The couple of little bits of skill, getting the crowd. Someone tweeted, you can tell how short we've been on players with flair, that he did one little back heel and the entire away end went, how long is it since we've been able to do something like that? He's fantastic, and Mourinho's got some real tasks on hand, really big choices of who to play in that 10. You've got arguably 3 players that can play there. It's going to be tough for him.
I can already see that he's actually going to be like the new Ben Thompson. Ben Thompson. What was his name that we had? Ben. Oh,
I think it is Ben Thompson that you're thinking of, Aaron.
Yeah. Everyone wanted back all the time and everything, and he was on loan. and then he went off again. He's going to be the new one that eventually everyone's going to fall in love with him. He's going to go back to Man City, and everyone for years and years and years, we need to get him back. I can see it happening. But yeah, he is such a phenomenal player. You can see the class and talent in him, and he will bag the goals in. He will be a starting 11 week in, week out. But I do like what Mourinho's doing with the squad, because over the years, you could actually see every team knew what our starting 11 was. So far, we've played 3 games, and no one actually knows who's actually going to be playing week in, week out. So the strength and depth that we've actually got. So our home team is going to be different to our away team, and in our cup game team, it's going to be completely different again. That's how much strength and depth we've got. And now the teams that we're going to be playing aren't actually going to realise who or know who they're actually going to play each week, because he's changing the team all the time. And I think that's a massive, massive bonus.
Dill wanted a little cameo from you. Hello, welcome. How are you? You all good?
Good evening, chaps. Fish
Evening,
tank.
Andrew.
Fish tank sporting a new haircut, mate. Looks lovely.
Yeah. Had
Barn.
a fight with a barber.
Yeah. Could you keep it for me? Barn.
Yeah, I'm getting it like you now, Andrew.
Yeah, exactly, mate. You get shaving that right off my son.
You two need a pre-season in Turkey.
Yeah. Barn, good to see you yesterday, mate. Good day out.
You too, mate. Yeah, very good.
And there he is, Pepe. All right, son?
How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and there he is, Retro Commander. Good evening, sir.
How you doing? Good evening.
Good.
Well, you've had sort of 24 hours to reflect on it. What did you make of all things Pompey yesterday and the 4-0 win?
As we said at lunchtime, Tom and I were just talking, like you do over a bit of lunchtime, just chatting about.
We do talk off camera occasionally. Yeah,
quite a little bit, Tom, and mainly about Pompey, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, there's not much else to talk about, really, is there?
No. But yeah, I suppose my biggest concern is that this guy up front, the new Aussie, could be a target for anyone in January. That would be my concern. The bigger clubs might come in from a bit quick with some cash, and he might be well gone. That would be my biggest concern for us leading up towards the end of the season. But we don't know, do we? And someone.
You think he's going to go already? Isn't he just got here?
I think so. Because he's that good, isn't he? He is that good. Let's face it, he's that good, and he's proved it already in just 2.5 games. So that would be the only concern I've got, because we want to keep him, obviously, but. If someone,
I don't think you've got anything to worry about there, Andrew, because after listening to the owners, what I've heard them say over the last couple of weeks, they want to get out of the league as much as all us. So I don't think they're going to be bringing in players to get rid of them in January. I think they're actually building this team now to actually get out of this league, to actually start to compete. And like next season, let's just say if we do get promoted, it's going to be as long as we stay up and survive there. Then they're actually. But then, I don't think they will actually try to get rid of any players in January. I think they're probably bringing more players in January. But I think this could be a very, very magical season.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But you're worried about him going because he's that good.
I reckon you're right about the rest of the team. Okay, and that I would say is right. This guy, I think, has got something extremely special. He could grace the Premier League at that level. He could at teams like Fulham, for instance, Crystal Palace, teams with money that come in for stupid tens of millions, which is possible. Yeah. Then in January he's going to be gone, isn't he?
He has played 3 games in a Pompey shirt.
I know that. I'm not getting carried away, but from what I've seen over the years,
you reckon he's going to the Premier League, so that would suggest you're a little bit carried away.
Tommy's that good. I think he's that good. Honestly, do.
What contract is he signed? What contract?
I want to say 3.5 years. But
it's big money anyway. For us, it's big money, so it matters not. But maybe what we will get is this season out of him, perhaps, and then hopefully in the summer, if we're not promoted, then you'll see an avalanche. A lot of people going, I think. But we're going to get out this league, aren't we?
Personally, I think that because everyone at Pompey loves him already, I don't think he's going to just jump ship. I think if we do actually get promoted, he's going to say, well, let me have another year with these boys and everything, because they've made me so welcome and everything. I'm not being funny. Look at yesterday with all the Australian hats, the flags and everything as well. Yeah. We just made him so welcome and everything.
Money talks, mate, doesn't it? If someone comes in for 10 million quid,
I'm so sorry to say
he's going to be gone, isn't he?
We've got a really busy hour, so we're not going to be talking in hypotheticals.
I didn't mean to
no, I just think you're talking about something that's never going to happen. So why give it the airtime?
I'll back out of this one.
Don't back out of this one. I just said he's got not going anywhere. Absolutely not going anywhere. Pepe, I wanted to ask you about some of Richie Wellens' comments. He had his say on proceedings earlier on. I think it was after the game, and then it's kind of come out on social media as of this morning. Quote unquote, Richie Wellens. Not only did I look at not once, did I look at Pompey and think they'd wowed us. They just defend the box well and attack balls in the other. That was almost a licking his lips at Colby's balls moment there, especially for you, Pepe. Of course, Richie Wellens there outlining pretty much the basics of winning a football match was the response to everyone, Pompey fans, and that's kind of how we all reacted to that. Although you can take a little bit of truth in what he says. I was, of course, wowed by Pompey because it's a 4-0 win, and who wouldn't be wowed by that? But in the first half, it was a pretty even game. I think in between when we scored, especially second half, we had far too much for them, of course, and that will go down as one of the ultimate John Messino halves so far. Equally, you reflect on it, you think Sparks could have had one flashed across the goal line. You know, there's 4 really good chances. Colby was unlucky in the second half. Gavin White had a decent effort, which tested the keeper too. So a little indifferent on whether the scoreline flattered Pompey or maybe Richie Wellens has got a point. What do you think?
I mean, for the first time, I think a long time, we can actually say Pompey took their chance. I know you put in a couple of replays up here, and they did create a lot of chances, but Pompey ultimately took their chance. And I think just looking on radio, listening to it on the radio, and just looking at what was said on Twitter, I think did Regan Paul have a clearance off the lot? He cleared a ball off the line. Did I see people talk about that?
He did, yeah, great block.
Yeah.
Leyton Orient did have their chances, and ultimately Pompey were more clinical. What Richie Wellens said, yes, okay, was a bit truthful, but that's how you win a football game. You put away your chances and you defend your box properly. There you go. That's football in a handbook. That's the first rule of football is what I've just said. So what he's I've seen some stuff on Twitter, and I think Liam Howes compared him to the new Joey Barton. So I wouldn't go to quite that extent, but it's how he said it probably might not have come out how he meant it, but yeah, it didn't look good. But that's how you play football ultimately. And Pompey for the first time took their chances, which I can't believe we're saying this, Tom, but yeah, they took their chances.
Unbelievable.
Our XG was only 1.33 yesterday.
Yeah.
So that shows how clinical we were. Sorry, I went off Hancock's analysis then. My apologies.
Can I go one better, Barn, and say that our expected goals on target yesterday was 2.04? So that probably gives you even more of an inkling as a clinical Pompey display. While with you, Barney, Richie Wellens might not be wowed, but with that much space left for us in the channels and as fruitful as Colby can be in front of goal left unmarked, you are really asking for trouble there, aren't you?
Even Colby's header, that is a worldy cross from Rafferty. It reminded me to a similar degree. There's the famous clip of Beckham when he's at Real Madrid and he whips the ball in from nearly the halfway line, round about 4 defenders and onto an absolute dime for Ronaldo. Original Ronaldo, obviously. If that was a Premier League cross, that would have probably been replayed many a time. But the thing that it exposed was an enormous gap in the defence. You've got Colby Bishop, who could be a top goal scorer of the league come the end of the year, is being given that much space in the middle of their box. That's criminal, absolutely criminal. If they keep on defending like that and like they did the rest of the game, they will be in trouble.
Retro, of course, when the goal tally's rising, it helps, doesn't it? In the second half, naturally, it becomes a little bit easier for you in amongst the celebratory mood in the away end. However, Pompey didn't lose their drive, and I felt like we did keep pushing, and ultimately, I think the last goal comes in. It's almost the 90th minute, isn't it? Was it 90 plus? Was it 90 plus?
93.
Yeah. It's I think it's a sign of how hungry the team are. You know, you've got young players trying to prove themselves. They know that they might not get in the next game. They're all trying to show how good they are, trying to, cement the position, and therefore they are keen and they want to progress, and it's flowing through the team, and I can't recall a Pompey side having that much creativity that they in the last couple of seasons. They've got lots of ideas going forward. There's people dropping back, Sadie in particular, around the centre spot. When the cutbacks are coming in, there's someone there. They're looking exciting. You've got Bishop running. Yengi was, as soon as he got the penalty, he was up. He was after that ball. No one else was going to take that penalty. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to get carried away, but it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, and long may it continue. I'm delighted to say Retro Shirt Sean will be gracing us with his presence on Fournilwrittenalloverit at the tail end of next week. So look forward to that. We'll take each goal piece by piece. So it's great that we've got 4 to talk about Pepe. This is the first one from Marlon. Off to a good start, which was pretty much Pompey's first sight of goal, really. We're talking about how clinical we were, but that was literally, I thought, the only time we ever got near the Leyton Orient net in the first half, Peps, was that.
Well, that says a lot. I wasn't at the game, so I don't really know what.
No, I know, but put it this way, it was. So how good's that?
Oh no, it's good. If we're scoring with our first chance, as you said, then that's obviously good. And I know you put some of the highlights of the second half where there was some few missed chances, but scoring 4 goals is good enough for Pompey. Like when was the last time? Cheltenham, wasn't it, last year? So. We saw back in the last year that Messina was trying to play his way. I think he's now 14 games unbeaten. We're 14 games unbeaten after last year as well. So we're putting away chances. Although there are a few draws, we are scoring goals. We've got 5 goals already this season, which we're in the league. Sorry, so we are putting away chances, and to score 4 in the second game of the season. And especially yesterday, Marlon Pack scoring the first, from our first shot on target, that always bodes well.
Absolutely. Aaron, second one, Colby off the mark. Great for his confidence and the confidence of the group as a whole, really, isn't it? When Colby Bishop's off the mark, the season's really started. Great all-round contribution from him yesterday. The first of hopefully many and similar numbers, if not more than last season, from the man with the magic hat.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what he was missing last season. He needed that crosses in the box and everything. That's why he didn't score that many. But there's been the missing link that we've needed from last year. And I've never seen Sean smile so much because we've scored so many goals so far in 2 games in the league. And he's actually hasn't said, oh, we need to do this, that. He's buzzing. So, wow. Yeah, Colby. But yeah, this team, we were missing that link, the crosses into the box, to get Colby on the head and everything as well. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But it's a team event now, and every single player is playing their part. The link up and everything, whatever's happening at that training field is now working, and we should be feared in this league now. I know it's only a couple of games in, but we should be feared.
Josh said, Portsmouth clinical. Oh my word, in a fever dream. Yeah, we can't actually believe it. Mr. Gaz Guinness is in. Good evening to you, mate. Thanks so much for being with us. Looking forward to having Gaz over very soon. If you see a few sort of wry smiles from the boys, there is a private chat separate to the one that we read in our stream. So there was a little clip that flashed up a moment ago, and I'm sure you can probably work out what the boys are talking about with regards to that. Hello to Mike Lowe, welcome along to the stream, mate. Lovely to have you with us. Hello to Steve, who said many times, keeping our feet on the ground. Let's enjoy the win and need it to carry on Tuesday, but the boys are keeping the negative boys away for the moment, which is always good to see, isn't it, Steve? Slightly fortuitous third goal, Retro, more than fortuitous. Some excellent work from Gavin White with a pre-assist for Rafferty to put the ball in for Colby's goal in the first half, as Aaron was just talking about. He's involved in this one too. With all the man of the match contenders, his excellent display might go on the radar yesterday, Gavin White.
Yeah, it was good. He put the ball where he should put it, and he made the defender make a decision. And fortunately for us, it was a bad one. But there were 2 Pompey players following it up. The keeper was nowhere to be seen. So, they all count. And Gavin White put it into the right place.
4 from the man down under, 4 from the man from the spot from the man down under, Barney. 4 goals in 3 games in the space of 7 days for that man. It's not a bad start at all, is it?
It just seems like a fantastic find. I think I said to you on the season preview that we did during the middle of the transfer window, there was a worry that were we signing someone just for some TikTok views, or based on his dancing and things like that, that even some of his own fans in Australia said he's injury prone, he's got a little bit of a temper on him. Was he kind of overrated? But from what we're seeing so far, fantastic. I love his passion. The fact that he was getting involved in his own chant yesterday as well, Sadie as well, like they were both like, yeah, as we were doing, yeah, Ngi, look behind us, yeah, Ngi, like right back at us. I love that the human side of players, when you see that come out, is fantastic. So Yeah, long may it continue, please.
We're speaking about all these goals, Aaron, and Barney mentioned Christian Sadie there. He's due a moment of a goal at Fratton Park, at least, hopefully on Tuesday or Saturday. Not least because he's a great player, but what he's been doing for the group as well. Sadie clearly absolutely loves it. Barney's mentioned it there. You would imagine he's a great character in the dressing room to have too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think once he scores at the Fretton end, I think he's going to put his name down in legendary status with all the Pompey fans. He's just, the whole team actually is just breath of fresh air. And is that the ratings? Yeah, 8.8 for Sadie's.
Yeah,
I'm
finish what you
amazed
were going to say,
Sadie-
Aaron.
I think they should be higher. Some of them. I think they should be green.
How Sadie's only
Yeah,
6.8.
so-
I mean, he didn't do anything clinical yesterday. He didn't do a through ball. He didn't have an assist. He didn't block lines, but he did hold up the ball really, really well. And frustrated players, you could see he won a few free kicks from his strength. That he forced players in to give silly fouls away. That the kind of fouls that is probably what made their manager so annoyed. That he was probably just more annoyed at his own players. But yeah, my thought.
Someone who hasn't yet had a mention, I think maybe properly tonight, Retro, is Regan Paul. I know Pepe mentioned his defensive work at the top, but I think for an hour-long show, we need at least a minute or two on him, because I just think every time he touches the ball, in years gone by, you're talking about a certain central defender who you'd probably have your heart in your mouth every time he was on the ball, but it's a pleasure to watch Regan Paul play football, isn't it?
Regan Poole, delight, and even the goal line clearance that he did, he was all in. But it's the fact that whatever he does it calmly, and how I don't know, I can't believe we've got 3 centre backs who can play the ball on the ground, and Poole as well. But they play it right across the back line. Your heart's not in your mouth. They're picking passes. It's just beautiful to see. And they talk to each other. They know where each other are. They're covering for each other. And I just, it's just nice to see that they've got such composure at the back now. And even when Raggett came on, maybe it's a sign that, and I know Barney likes him, and Raggett does do some things well. He's very good in the air, very good, and he weighs him with a few goals. But I think he's a confidence player. And when your back four's confident, and when he comes in for one, they bring out the best in him as well. And I think it's a sign that the whole team's doing well. So therefore, someone like Raggett, who's got weaknesses in his game, still looks good.
Adam said on Facebook, mega happy with the result, showed how to be clinical. However, all 3 matches so far this season, we've had slow starts. Cannot afford against better sides to be 1-0 down. Absolutely spot on there from Adam. Pepe, any others of the numbers, the initial reaction on Sadie that you would perhaps disagree with? And nice to see even a blue from Marlon Pack and plenty of green numbers around from a Pompey point of view on there.
Yeah, very good all round, really. It's good to see Bishop get on the score sheet, really. I know there's other people contributing, but at the same time, you also want Bishop to get on the score sheet as well. You want to keep his confidence high, and you want to keep him in the team, really. White, I watched the highlights, and he had a couple of good shots. He's looked like he's integrated well. Sorry, that was a tough one to bring out. He had a couple of shots last week, didn't he, as well? So he's looked promising. Ogilvy, really. He's Mr. Consistent. I know I've seen some people make up what they want their team to look like for Tuesday, bringing Swanson and Sparks in. I can understand it, but at the same time, you don't really want to change a back line that's kept a clean sheet and looked quite solid yesterday. Ogilvy, Shocknessy, Poole and Rafferty. I can understand why people want your Sparks and Swanson in, but at the same time, you want to keep sort of that team that's doing well together, if you understand what I mean. So that's one thing I'd like to say. But it's good that we're so positive. I know we were on the radio together on Monday and it wasn't so positive. We weren't talking about, or we were talking about a lack of creativity, weren't we? And now a week later nearly, and we're talking about 4-0. So it's very good to talk about. And finally, there's something positive to talk about Pompey.
I wanted to quickly get this in as well, Barney. Another little bit of a Hancock analysis moment here. Relatively small metrics. We can only go off what we have. The suggestion with the numbers here of Pompey players in these rankings for possession 1 in the final third per 90 means that the high press, high energy football that Massino is all about is seemingly working.
Yeah, I wouldn't have necessarily even noticed that. Colby did pick up on a couple of loose balls yesterday. I'll be honest, I think that was a little bit of luck on his part. He was perhaps in the right place at the right time, and you've still got to be there. But I think that possibly shows how many mistakes Leyton Orient made yesterday, that those two picked up the ball as much as they did, or those three. But still great stats to have. You want to be up there, and you'd expect to be up there in those kind of stats when you've scored 4 and conceded nothing.
Party Starter TV said, I love Raggett, but he reminds me of my drunk granddad when he drops his keys. AP said, can the panel see this squad not winning for 14 games? Obviously, I think that's a great comment because that refers to the barren run that we went under Danny Cowley. I can pretty much assure you that, well, can't assure you of everything because we felt this way about the Danny Cowley side this time last year, but looks like we're all going to be okay. Man of the match time then. Let's reveal the poll and go around the group with the boys. Something that Barney mentioned earlier on was the full-time scenes and the passion from Marlon, and Cassini obviously loving the chants and all that kind of thing. Reece mentioned it at the end of the show, Aaron. It's great to see so much camaraderie with the boys and the affection that I suppose ultimately it's a real approval of the football from the stands and also an appreciation of the support and backing from the pitch. No, Aaron's muted his mic. He's not. I think he might have had a glass of wine or two. Oh, dogs are barking. Retro appreciation from fans and players.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit going both ways, doesn't it? A lot of mutual sort of run it together. The team seem to be close knit. It's just nice to see that sort of mix, that blend coming in. You know, and the future looks good. It's nice that at the start of the season and everything's positive.
You like the passion, Peps?
Yeah, I'm all for a bit of passion, Tom. Last week when you saw Yengi, Sadie, and Paul give at the beginning in front of the Fratton end is brilliant to see. And then again yesterday, Sadie's loving it. Paul can't stop smiling, and just some positivity, Tom. We've been 6 years in League One. I know there was a bit last year, but this year it just feels a bit different. The squad look like they all want to be here. They all want to play for the badge. They all understand the club. They all love the fans. And that's something as a fan now, it's great to see. And when you're seeing it after a goal or after a win, they're all together. They all come over and celebrate. Paul comes over from the centre of defence to come and celebrate. And it's just good to see, Tom. And I'm all for it personally. I love a bit of passion. As I've just said in our private chat, I'm all for it.
Yeah, but well, Messino just came out, didn't he? He said that's all the Pompey fans want, a bit of passion, bit of desire, bit of work ethic, and that's what we're seeing. No 4-0 Sunday Live next weekend. However, there is something exciting in store for you here on the channel midway through next week. So not this coming week, the week after. Stay tuned, keep an eye out, and we are very much looking forward to bringing you that one. 2 games this week. Let's get into previewing those. It's a double helping of Fratton action this week with back-to-back home league games for Pompey in the space of 5 days. First up, Exeter City travel along the south coast for a Sky Sports documented clash this Tuesday. On small metrics, of course, but just a goal Pompey's way separates the two sides in the league at this early stage. Our last meeting with Gary Caldwell's Grecians was John Messino's first at the helm. A Marlon Pack special and some Joe Morrell magic the difference that day. Cheltenham Town and Pompey's subsequent test before yesterday, this was Messino's last 4-0 win in charge. At that time, the Robins were hitting the League 2 panic button. A late resurgence kept them in the division last time round, although Cheltenham have lost both their opening games of this new campaign so far. This feels like an important week at Fratton Retro. It's all well and good if we're free scoring away from home, but we all know that Fratton really must be a fortress this season if Pompey are to maintain their levels and do exactly what they want to do at the end of the campaign.
Yeah, you know, they're 2 winnable games, 2 games that will sort of show our intent for the season. I think, you know, it would be nice to see the same free-flowing football at Fratton Park. My concern is sometimes the pressure does build on the players, but I'm kind of hoping that they'll rise to the occasion and we'll see Yengi do his thing.
Barney, really enjoyable day last time both these teams came to Fratton Park. A Pompey side, high on confidence at the moment, must make the most of that momentum. Great to have 2 games in such quick succession. Retro said winnable games. We know that there's a kind of an extent to which games are winnable in League One going into them. I was expecting a much sterner test, with all due respect to Leyton Orient yesterday, and we came out that one with flying colours, 4-star performance. And also, as you said, last time we played Cheltenham at Fratton Park, 4-0 written all over it. It's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it?
It's just that risk, isn't it, that you just hope you don't get too confident, and that the squad and Mousinho managers, they all manage each other well. They don't get too overconfident, because how many times the teams, I mean, look, like someone mentioned earlier, Barnsley winning 7-0, and then they draw their next game. That would just be so Pompey. It'd be so League One for us to go and have such a confident win, and then to sort of lose like 1-0 or win 0-0, because we do love a winning 0-0 at Fratton Park sometimes. So.
I apologise if Retro's typing is being transmitted back home, but he's been what's that meme? Typing intensifies. Retro Sean tonight has been typing intensifies massively. Wholesale changes, Pepe, for incomings and outgoings at Exeter City. Might be a stretch to call it a much improved side since last time we met, but a team that will give Pompey a good go and a night under the lights, Fratton Park, and that Sky Sports factor as well. Never a good sign, is it?
Oh, don't talk to me about Sky Sports. The Sky Sports cursed time. I can't even remember the last time we won a game on Sky. So, no, I thought Exeter initially would struggle. Looking at the teams before the start of the season, I thought they would be not down there, but I thought they'd struggle a bit more than what they did last year. I think they're now 7th. I think they were 7th or 8th. So they've won 1 and drawn 1. They drew 0-0 with Blackpool at home on Saturday. So I wouldn't rule them out completely, like a simple Pompey win. Obviously, it's not as easy as that. They're going to be a lot harder task than what Cheltenham are. They got done 3-0 by Bolton, I think, yesterday. So that will be probably the easier of the two, if you can call it an easy game in League One. And, of course, that added pressure of Sky Sports and that curse that I really don't like talking about.
Michael said, great show, guys. Glad you're enjoying the hour tonight, Michael. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes left here on 4-0 Sunday Live tonight. Aaron, Cheltenham have lost both their opening games so far. Obviously, 2 games to go on. Not an awful lot of prior form. Well-documented loss of Alfie May over the summer too, who was an incredibly free-scoring player for them. With no disrespect to either team, a chance this week for Pompey to get a nice run going in terms of wins, building on a 4-0 from yesterday.
Yeah, no disrespect to any of the teams, but we're going to smash both of them. Because definitely we're going to smash both of them, especially with the confidence that we've got from yesterday, and the confidence I've got now, because I've now finished my wine. So we're going to absolutely annihilate them on Tuesday and next Saturday as well. And then especially with the Sky Sports curse, that's going to be changed on Tuesday. And then everyone's going to be talking about Pompey from Wednesday morning and say, look, this is a team to watch for this season.
Phil said it's got to be 6 points this week if we're serious. Retro, you reckon 6 points and people start all of a sudden going, yeah, Pompey are rocking and rolling, aren't they?
I think, 6 points.
Or we can go that, potentially.
Yeah, 6 points a must, and I think the team can do it. I think, there's always that Sky Sports worry, but I think these boys are up for it, and I think they'll be fine.
Just as a final point before we go to a score prediction, Simon's already in with 2-2 versus Exeter, 3-1 win versus Cheltenham. To you, Barney, if I may, a couple more stats. I don't know why I'm going to Barney on all the stats tonight, but we'll go to score predictions from our panel in a moment. Feel free to start getting those in the comment section down below, the live chat, down below. John Mousinho's time at Pompey, Barn, 26 games, 12 wins, 10 draws, 4 losses, works out at just under 1.8 points per game. Not bad going.
It's pretty good. I'd almost rather not look at last season at all. I feel like last season was the beginning of pre-season for him. Him working out who were his players, who were going to play to his strengths, to his beliefs, his passion. His intelligence. I feel like there's a lot of intelligence there. I've never watched so many interviews of a manager after games, pre-games. He interests me and intrigues me. I can't think of the right words, but I feel like he's got everything going right at the moment. That I think the average points per game this year will be a lot higher than that section he had last year. I feel like that was very much Danny Cowley's squad that he was having to try and coach out of doing almost like too much for press. For like we're League One players, we're not going to have Premier League fitness, we're not going to have Premier League skill. He needed to maybe just say, look, I see where you're going, and I have similar beliefs, but let's just bring it down a peg or two and play a little bit more sensibly.
Definitely. And a reminder of those 4 losses as well, with a Danny Cowley squad that Messino inherited, Pepe, away to Barnsley, Plymouth and Peterborough, and home to Sheffield Wednesday. So other than that, you're not losing against any side. So more of the same, please.
Yeah, exactly that. I was going to touch on that. Luckily, you read them out because I saw it earlier on Twitter. I was trying to reel it off in my head. I can't remember how many of the big sides they played at the second half of last year. Didn't play Ipswich. They played Derby away, got a draw there. There were a load of draws at the back end of last season, weren't there? It was like three wins, something like that. 3 wins, 8 draws. Sorry. So yeah, it was a good end to last season. But like Barney said, it was very much going in sort of like pre-season, and when Messino came out and said we were already recruiting or already had our recruitment plans going into the summer, the focus was definitely on this year, and luckily we're seeing it pay off in the first couple of games.
AP said a great 4-0 live. Well done, Tom and the lads. Thank you very much for that, AP. Dan said, got to be honest, the 4 after Cheltenham looking a bit more of a test. Absolutely. Claire said, Exeter going to be a tough game than a lot of people think. 2-1 Pompey, 3-0 against Cheltenham. Jack's feeling a loss against Exeter. We never win on Sky, and Exeter looks strong this season. Alex is saying 4-1 Pompey, Bishop, Hattrick and Paul. Shane on YouTube said, the team over the last couple of seasons feels like to me the Leicester City 2015-16 winning season. Obvious team bonding and morale, fluent football. So I'm going for the... Retro's left us. I'm going for the 2023-24 title winners. Daniel's going for 2-0 in both games. Dawn has said, Regan hands down man of the match. 3-0 win on Tuesday and 2-0 win on Saturday from Dan. Aaron, 2 scores, if you will, mate.
Both 4-0s written all over it.
Nice.
And the thing is... The thing is because our manager was only still playing football 18 months ago, he knows this league inside and out. So I think that's gone to our advantage as well, because he used to be a player 18 months ago. Now he's a manager. Now he's got this team in. This feels so much different. This feels like before Paul Cook, when we got up from League Two. Since Paul Cook, I haven't felt like that until now, but I feel better now. But the next 2 games, 4-0 written all over it, both of them.
You feeling 2 4-0 wins?
I'm thinking this is only my
because you did get it right yesterday.
Yeah,
for the first time in a long time.
I'm thinking 4-0 against Exeter, 4-0 against Cheltenham, and then 4-0 away at Stevenage. That would be 4 4-0s in a row. What would that do to your channel?
I wouldn't want to imagine. I think the likelihood's rather small. Josh said solid 2-0 win, good defensive performance, goals from Scully and Bishop. Sorry to Yengi. Frankie said 3-1 win, 4-0 from Stephen on Facebook, 2-0 Exeter, 3-1 Cheltenham. Nitrox Ziho is saying 3-1 against Exeter and 4-0 against Cheltenham. Dawn said we want 5. Cowley Press, the reason the whole team was injured. Interesting one. We'll take a draw on Tuesday, and Harry's going for 2-1 both games. Barn, what we saying, mate?
I'm going to go a repeat of the last time we played Exeter on TV, which was the 3-2 Papa John's game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 3-2. I feel goals. I think we'll be overconfident, but I think we'll still win. I think we'll concede a couple just due to the overconfidence risk I alluded to earlier. However, Cheltenham, I do see us smashing them. Possibly, we'll hope for a 4-0, but I think it'd be 3.
Go on very quickly.
Okay, just quickly then. The next 3 games, we're going to win all 3. Then we've got Peterborough, Barnsley and Derby. That will tell you where we are at the end of the season in 7 weeks' time, in 6 games' time.
Retro?
2-0 against Exeter. I think it'll be a solid performance. And then I'm thinking 4-0 following that. And I think it'll be 6 points. And I think we'll be looking here, sitting pretty next week. And then we'll see what happens against the Posh.
And looking forward to having Retro for his predicted 4-0 win at home to Cheltenham Town. Pepe, you have the last word, mate. What we saying for the upcoming week at Pompey? 2 back-to-back home games, opportunity for plenty of goals and plenty of points.
Yeah, I like what Andrew said, saying about how the next couple of 6 games will go. That really show where Pompey is. It's all good beating your Exeters and Cheltenhams and Stevenages, but the real test comes in September, and the more wins you can get before those 3 tough games, the better. I predict Pompey to win both of them. If they turn up, then I believe they could really be a force to be reckoned with, but that's a big if. So I'll go 2-1 Pompey against Exeter. I think it'll be a lot tougher game. And then obviously Saturday against Cheltenham, maybe leaning towards a 3-0. I don't know about 4, Tom, but I don't know. I might need a beer. So yeah.
Can't have too many 4-0s at once, can we? Because we'll have none for the rest of the season. That is it. Our hour is up. Thank you for being with us. Thanks to Mr. Fish Tank. Thanks to Pepe. Thanks to Retro and Barney. And thank you to you for your cameo appearance as well. And seeing as the man from Down Under scored from the spot twice this week, it seems only right, once again, that we leave you with this. Thanks for watching. And as always, play up, Pompey.